Hello everyone, this is video number 2 from chapter motion. In the first chapter we learn to define the term motion and rest. Motion is nothing but if the object changes its position with respect to surrounding, then we can say that that object is in motion, and if any object does not changes its position with respect to surrounding, then it is at rest. Okay. Now in this video we are going to learn about how we are able to compare the motion between the two objects. So for that comparison we require some quantities that gives us knowledge about that particular motion. So here we are going to start with some quantities related to motion, and that is two very simple quantities that we already know about it, that is distance and displacement. It is very easy to listen, but think what is the difference between these two, distance and displacement. So let's start with this. So the first quantity from this chapter motion we are going to learn, that is distance, and comparatively along with this distance we are also going to learn about the another quantity called as displacement. So what is meant by distance and what is meant by displacement? We'll compare these two. See, the meaning of distance is, for example, I am giving the task to any student that he has to travel a distance of 5 kilometers. He has to travel a distance of 5 kilometers. Okay. So उस बंदे ने टास्क स्टार्ट किया. Nowadays you are having a digital watch जो काउंट करता है कि आप कितना ट्रैवल करते हो, यस और नो. सो उसने वो वॉच सेट की और वो उसी क्लासरूम के कॉर्नर पे चलते रहा until that particular watch gives the reading of 5 kilometer. बस वहीं पे the task is completed. It travels a distance of 5 kilometer. There is no need of direction. मैंने ये नहीं बोला उसे कि कहाँ से कहाँ जाना है. The task is about to travel a distance of 5 kilometer. So what is meant by distance then? Distance is just a path covered by you. Whatever will be the direction, आप कहीं पे भी जा सकते हो. The task is only to travel a distance of 5 kilometer. कहीं पे भी जाओ. Is it clear? So distance is nothing but the longest path covered by an object called as distance traveled by that object. That will be the definition. What is distance? The longest path covered by an object is called as distance, no matter what will be the direction. Okay. Now think about what is displacement then. Both are the same thing. No. See the word displacement. It is all about displace, means the particular object having its initial position and now it is going to displace from that position, means it has to move from that particular position. उसे डिस्प्लेस होना है, अपनी इनिशियल पोजीशन छोड़ के कहीं और जाना है. इज इट क्लियर टू ऑल? सो फॉर एग्जांपल point A will be the initial position for this person, then that particular person displaced from point A to the point B. Now we can say that that object displaces from its initial position to the final position. Yes or no? Clear? Then how we can define this particular term displacement? Displacement is the shortest path covered or shortest distance traveled from initial position to final position. Shortest distance traveled from initial position to final position. What is the meaning of it? Just take an example. Listen. For example, this is the ground, a running track. Okay. Athlete A starts running from point A and covers a complete round. This round, for example, it is of 100 meter. Complete round, it is of 100 meter. So we can say that circumference of running track, it is of 100 meter. Okay. So it starts from point A, again reaches to point A, then we can say that one round get completed. Yes or no? Now think about displacement. What is the initial position of that person? A. What is the final position? Again A. Is it displaced? No. So what will be the displacement? 0. आप घर से निकलते हो, किसी दुकान में जाते हो, दुकान से फिर से घर पे ही आ जाते हो. So what is your initial position? Home. What is your final position? Again home. So are you get displaced? No. So what is your displacement? 0. But you travel some distance, a distance of 100 meter. That is the difference between distance and displacement. Your displacement requires the particular direction. It starts from initial position and ends on final position. The shortest distance between these two must be the displacement. Is it clear? So how to define this? Displacement is all about the shortest distance measured from initial position to final position, called as displacement. This is the example, or we can say these are the definitions of two different physical quantities, distance and displacement. We'll take one numerical to explain these particular quantities in very specific manner. For example, okay, this is all about the definitions. So इसे मैं erase कर देता हूँ. I'm also going to share the notes with you where you will get all these definitions also. Okay. So to understand these particular quantities in very specific manner, now look for this particular example. This is point O at 0 kilometer. For example, this is the distance. Here we are having a point A at 50 kilometer. Means this A is from O to A, O at 0, A at 50. What is the distance between O and A? Then 50 kilometer. Okay. Then here we are having B, which is from O at 30 kilometer. Okay. Now this one is C, from O it is at 20 kilometer. So O to C 20, O to B 30, O to A it is 50. Done. Now, for example, if any object travels, the question on this, if any person travels from point O to A, then turn back and travels from A to C again. Calculate distance traveled and displacement of that person. That will be our question. If any person travels from point O to A, then turn back and travels from A to C. First it goes O to A, then it comes A to C. So if this will be the condition, you have to calculate distance traveled and displacement of that person. So as per the definition, distance traveled is equals to O to A, that is OA, from A to C, that is AC, that is OA 0 to 50, that is 50 kilometer, plus AC, O से C कितना दूर है 20, O से A कितना दूर है 50, so 50 minus 20, 20 से 50 कितना दूर होगा, it is 30 kilometers away. So what will be the distance traveled? 80 किलोमीटर. यस और नो? पहले वो O से A गया 50, फिर A से C आया, A से C कितना आया, वो पहले गया 50, फिर इधर कितना आया 30. So total distance traveled is 80 kilometer. Now I am talking about displacement. What is the initial position? Initial position is O, कितना 0 kilometer. O to A, A to C. What will be the final position? C. कितना 20 किलोमीटर. आप कहीं से भी घूम के आओ. What will be your displacement? The shortest distance measured from your initial position to final position. आप कहीं भी जाके आओ. Initial position is 0, final position is 20. So it's nothing but the difference between them. Final position minus initial position. What will be your answer? Final position, initial position. So what will be the displacement? It is 20 kilometer. That is nothing but the difference between distance and displacement. Are you getting me? Distance is just the path covered by an object in any direction. कहीं पे भी जाओ. It is just the path covered by an object. That is distance. But what is displacement? It is the shortest distance measured from initial position to final position. Is it clear to all? These are the first two physical quantities from the chapter motion, distance and displacement. Okay. Now we are going to discuss the next term, that is nothing but scalar quantity and vector quantity. Okay, for example, what is meant by scalar quantity and vector quantity? As we learn about the two quantities now, distance and displacement. Okay, so whatever the quantities we are going to learn in this particular chapter, starting from distance and displacement, all these quantities are going to divide into these two types, scalar quantity and vector quantity. Then what is meant by scalar? Okay, the meaning of scalar quantity is if any quantity is going to describe completely by number only, the quantities which are completely described by magnitude alone, the quantities which are completely described by magnitude alone, the meaning of magnitude is number, then such quantities are called as scalar quantities. For example, what is the strength of your classroom? What is the strength of your particular class? So आपके monitor ने कहा, sir, our class having a 40 students. That is the strength of your class. So is there is need of any direction to measure these 40 students? आप कहीं से भी start करो, right से start करो, left से start करो, middle से start करो, पीछे से start करो, आगे से start करो, randomly कैसे भी count करो, your answer must be 40. There is no need of direction. Okay, sir, आपके जेब में कितने रुपए? I am having 500 rupees with me. So that 500 rupees don't need any direction. Sir, right से 500, left से क्या 400 है? No. Is it clear to all? So scalar means what? Scalar quantities are the quantities which are completely described by number only. By number only. Now think about the distance. Distance doesn't require any direction. Yes, the task is given. Travel a distance of 5 kilometer anywhere. तो उसी रूम में घूमते रहो, या 2.5 किलोमीटर जाओ और 2.5 किलोमीटर वापस आओ, it becomes your 5 kilometer. Yes or no? So distance don't require any direction. The distance is the quantity which is completely described by number only. 5 kilometer describes the complete distance. So we can say that scalar quantity, example is distance. So distance will be the scalar quantity which is completely described by only magnitude. Magnitude means what? Number. So distance will be the quantity which is completely described by only numerical value. So that distance comes into scalar quantity. Then what are the vector quantities? Your displacement. Then how? See, to verify this, that displacement requires a direction. It is the shortest distance measured from initial position to final position. For example, if an athlete starts from point A, it travels one round, another round, third round also it reaches to point A, and 3.5 round. Is it clear? A will be the initial position, B will be the final position. Now think about the distance travelled. Think about the distance travelled. Yes, मान लो this particular distance it completes 3.5 round. One round equals to what? 100 meter. So 100, 200, 300 and half round equals to 50. So the total distance travelled must be of 350 meter. That is the distance travelled. What about the displacement? It is the shortest distance measured from initial position to final position. So you must have to calculate what diameter of this particular circle. So diameter कैसे? With the formula circumference is equals to 2 pi r, then 2r becomes your diameter. In this way you have to calculate the diameter of this particular circular track, then it becomes your displacement. So direction matters from initial position to final position, that becomes your displacement. So why this particular displacement is vector quantity? Because displacement, or we can say vector quantities, are completely described by magnitude as well as direction. Scalar requires only magnitude, but vectors require magnitude also direction. कितना और कहाँ से कहाँ तक, that is nothing but your displacement. Is it clear? So up to this topic we had a discussion on distance and displacement only. So we divide these two physical quantities into scalar and vector. In the further chapter we are going to learn about the number of quantities, and all these quantities are going to divide into whether it is scalar or vector. So what is scalar quantities? Quantities which are completely described by magnitude alone, only numerical value, called as scalar quantities. And what is vector quantity? The quantities which are completely described by magnitude as well as direction. Yes, then such quantities are called as vector quantities. So your distance is scalar and displacement is vector. Done up to this? Yes or no? Okay. Now I am going to give you one numerical based on this particular topic, distance and displacement. So try to solve this particular question. The question is, a farmer moves along the boundary of a square field of side 10 meter. In 40 seconds. What will be the magnitude of displacement of the farmer at the end of 2 minutes 20 seconds. From his initial position. See, the question is, a farmer moves along the boundary of a square field of side 10 meter in 40 seconds. What will be the magnitude of displacement of the farmer at the end of 2 minutes and 20 seconds from his initial position? So this question you have to solve. You will get the answer of this question in the next video. I hope you are going to solve this question. So up to this is all about the motion chapter. Thank you so much.